Hold on a sec here.
Yeah.
Folks, food insecurity program actually paying farmers to grow food for those most in need in our community. From our work, that's pretty pioneering.
What's that? CropMobster TV Season 2. Yours truly, Nicky Bobby, is taking off on a road trip.
In the streets, in the fields, in the food banks, telling stories that matter. Local, regional stories of people doing good work, creating good news, doing work that helps each other, our neighbors, our community.
Giddy up! Check it out.
Hey folks, Nicky Bobby here with CropMobster TV, and I'm coming at you from Humboldt County, and I've met this wonderful food system leader, Ann Anderson, locallydelicious.org, and I'm super thrilled to be meeting you, number one, but also having the opportunity to share your story with the greater world. You're doing some amazing work. So how are you today, Ann?
I'm great. We have sunshine in Humboldt.
Could you tell us a little bit about just an overview of your project, your organization, and maybe a little bit about where was that spark? How did you get started?
Okay, well, we're about a 10-year-old nonprofit started by 6 older women. We focused on tomatoes as being something people related to as wanting to have that local and fresh, because store-bought tomatoes are generally not that good. So we focus on tomatoes. We call ourselves heirloom tomatoes. We used to be hot, but now we're heirloom. Anyway, so we started because there had already been going a locavore potluck where people would bring food made from local products. We thought, well, great to have a cookbook, how to use local food products. And so we came up with this book, Locally Delicious, with the recipes, but also it's a recipe book with information and an attitude about why local is important, why organic is important, history of our place. And so that got going, and we actually earned quite a bit of money with this.
Oh, yeah?
And we did.
Wow.
And so we came up with the idea of our first project after the book was one where we raised money to hire farmers to grow food for the food bank, the food that the food bank wanted or knew that their clients would use. And so that was our first big project, and it's now going into its 10th year, over $100,000, $100,000.
Okay, hold on a sec here.
Yeah.
Folks, food insecurity program actually paying farmers to grow food for those most in need in our community. From our work, that's pretty pioneering, and the impact is tremendous. So hats off to you. Hats off to you and your team, and for that. You're able to support farmers who struggle to make a living, and at the same time support those most in need. Tell us about another project.
We recognized that the quality of food, cafeteria food, wasn't everything we'd want it to be. And so we came up with a second book to help young families make really healthy lunches so they didn't have to necessarily use that food. So it's another book with an attitude, with how to cook and how to recognize good food and make high-quality lunches for their kids. Again, this is profitable. It's now being given out by the folks at our community health system, the open-door clinics, to families on well child visits, so that they give it to families with the young kids to help with that.
Wow.
So with the proceeds of these books, we've been able to fund a lot of other projects from other organizations. We are a fully legal nonprofit of 501c3, and so we can take grants and money. But there's a lot of groups that want to do a project that they're just a group of people that want to do a project, and they need $200, or they need $500, or they need $1,000 to get something going. And so we're able to take some of the money and fund all of these smaller projects. One of the groups that's actually somewhat larger is the Permaculture Guild, which has their annual plant and seed exchange, which is very cool, and they also do education about permaculture and growing, and so we're able to help support their projects, which we like a lot.
That's great.
We love those guys. They're terrific.
Well, folks, I think it's important for all of us to start paying more attention to these little innovative programs that are doing major things in their communities, because we can learn from them and then start applying lessons to our own community. And so locally-delicious.org, correct? Right. You've been at this for a while. You're prolific in terms of your number of projects. In your heart, what's the spark and the vision that keeps you going?
Keeps me going. Well, first I have to say, our main goal is to relocalize our food system, but we have 3 key values. One of them is equity. We pay attention to social equity. The other is economy. We feel if the local food system is going to be strong and viable. It has to be economically viable. So we pay attention to that. That's why we pay the farmers. Don't ask them just to give the food away. And then the environment.
Yep.
Good, clean, organic farming.
Where we're out here in Ann's food garden. I just first want to thank you so much for taking the time with me today. We're really honored to meet you and to start learning about your work. It's a great honor, Ann. I mean that.
Can I tell you about 2 other projects that are really important, really quick?
Jump right in.
Okay. One is done by one of our members of our group.
It's actually going to die. We don't have any time left.
Okay. Made a film, which is coming out soon, and then also we've done our local food guide, which is all the resources in the county, 3 counties up here, for finding local food. So these are also...
Shake and bake. So with that, I just want to thank you so much for your support. I want to thank our partners for their support. This can only happen as a team. Farmers, gardeners, hunger groups, doing actual work in their own communities.
Hero.
What? Come on!
With regards to grazing or with regards to insurance?
There we go. Shazam!